I am Reed. I am 27, just an average dude. I've made tons of money mistakes in my 20s, and now I want to share everything I've learned to help you take control of your finances and your life. Alright, so I want to start this video by being real with you. This is probably one of my favorite videos I have ever made, and I genuinely think there is a lot of value in here if you actually sit down and pay attention. And the reason I say that is because I feel like most people out there running around trying to figure out how to build wealth are completely lost. Like they are running around like chickens with their heads cut off, not really knowing where to put their money or how to even think about it. And that's the problem. Everyone wants a quick tip. Everyone wants the magic stock ticker. Everyone wants to know which crypto is going to 100 times next month. But nobody wants to sit down and actually understand how money and value work at a fundamental level. So that's what this video is about. I'm not going to give you the 50-30-20 rule again. You have heard that a million times. I'm not going to tell you to just dump your money into an index fund and hope for the best. I mean, yeah, index funds are great. I invest in them too, but to a deeper way to think about all of this, I want to talk about the mindset. I want to talk about the framework. I want to talk about the way I personally think about building wealth every single day. And there are four main things I always keep in mind. So let's jump in. All right, the first thing, and I know this is going to sound a little basic at first, but trust me, stick with me because this is literally the foundation of everything. It's the concept of inputs and outputs. Now, to explain this, I got to take you back to high school physics for a second. I know you came here to learn about money, not thermodynamics, but hear me out. The first law of thermodynamics says energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred or transformed. That's it. You cannot create energy out of nothing. And I believe the exact same thing applies to value and to money. You cannot create value out of thin air. And let me give you an example. Look at this water bottle I have right here. It took energy to make this bottle. It took plastic materials. It took manufacturing. It took transportation. It took a store to stock it, and then I bought it. All of that is value being transferred from one place to another. Nothing came from nothing, and the same thing applies to you. If you want to build wealth, you have to understand that you as a person have a certain amount of value that you can provide to the world. Maybe that's through your hands, maybe it's through your brain, maybe it's through your time, but you cannot just snap your fingers and have money appear. And I know people are going to argue with me on this. They're going to say, well, Reed, what about starting a business? I created value from nothing. No, you didn't. You took the knowledge that was already in your brain and you applied it. You took your time and you traded it. You transferred your energy into building something. That's not creation from nothing. That's transformation. And once you understand that, you stop waiting for a miracle. You stop waiting for some random crypto to pump. You stop waiting for your rich uncle to die. You start realizing that you have to actually produce value to get value back. And that leads me to the most important question you can ask yourself. How can I accumulate more units of value? I view everything in units of value. My time is a unit of value. My skills are units of value. A stock I own is a unit of value. A rental property is a unit of value. And my goal every single day is to figure out how to accumulate more units of value than I am spending. It's that simple. And look, I know someone is going to bring up the Federal Reserve. They're going to say, well, Reed, what about the government printing money? They are literally creating value out of nothing, right? No, they are not. They are watering down the value of every dollar that already exists. If the government prints $1 trillion, they are not creating $1 trillion of new wealth. They are making every single dollar in your pocket worth less. That's not creating value. That's destroying the value of your savings. So don't get confused. Okay, let's move on to the second concept. And this is where most people hit a wall. This is the concept of leverage and scale. And I would say that this is probably the number one reason why most people never get past a certain point financially. For some people, the wall is at $10,000 saved up. For others, it's at $100,000 a year in income. And for a few people, it's at $1 million or $2 million, but almost everyone hits a wall at some point. And the reason is because they never learn how to use leverage and scale. So let me explain what I mean. Let's say you have a certain capacity for work. Maybe you can work 40 hours a week, maybe 50 or 60 if you really grind, but to reach a hard limit, you only have 24 hours in a day and you need to sleep and eat and take care of yourself. So if you are trading your time for money directly, you have a ceiling. You can only make so much. But leverage is how you break through that ceiling. And here's a simple example. Let's say I have $80 in my pocket. I can take that $80 and I can pay someone else to work for me. Let's say I pay them $20 an hour for 4 hours of work, so I spend $80. Now that person goes out and does some work for me. Maybe they write some articles or they do some video editing or they help me with my business, and that work generates $800 for me. So I spent 80 and I made 800. That's leverage. I use someone else's time and energy to multiply my own output. And the beautiful thing is I also got those 4 hours of my own time back. So now I can go and do something else with that time. I can find another opportunity. I can build another stream of income. And I know what some of you are thinking. You're saying, Reed, that's messed up. You are underpaying that person. They did 800 worth of work and you only paid them 80. And look, I get it. It sounds unfair on the surface, but here's the reality. Every single business in the world operates on this principle. Every company that hires employees is making a spread. If you have a job right now making 50 grand a year, your employer is probably making 100 or 200 grand off of your work. That's just how capitalism works. I am not saying it's morally right or wrong. That's a whole other conversation. But if you want to build wealth, you have to understand how the system actually operates. And the point is not to underpay people. The point is to pay them a fair market rate for their labor and then use the remaining spread to grow and reinvest. And the other key here is that most people struggle with actually delegating. They hire someone and then they micromanage them the whole time. They hover over their shoulder, they spend all the time they saved by worrying about whether the person is doing a good job. That's not leverage. That's just stress with extra steps. You have to actually let go and trust people to do their work. That's the only way scale works. All right, before I move to the third concept, I want to take a quick second to talk about something that fits perfectly with this whole idea of saving time and letting your money work for you. And that's Wealthfront. I have been using Wealthfront for a while now, and I genuinely like it because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of investing. Look, I am a busy guy. I have my job. I have my side projects. I have my life. I do not have time to sit around and pick individual stocks all day, and honestly, most people should not be doing that anyway. Wealthfront lets me passively invest into the markets. It helps me dollar cost average my money in without me having to think about it. And one of my favorite features is their tax loss harvesting, which can actually save you money on your taxes. The fee is only 0.25% per year, and the account minimum is just $500. So anyone can get started. They just added a bunch of new investment options too. You can invest in clean energy, socially responsible companies, healthcare tech, and even crypto like Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if you want to check them out, I will leave a link down below. You can get your first $5,000 managed for free. I personally use it, and I think it's a solid option for anyone who wants to invest without spending hours researching. All right, back to the video. So the third concept is something that I think is incredibly important, but almost nobody talks about, and that's understanding which phase of the economic cycle you are in. There are four main phases: the stealth phase, the awareness phase, the mania phase, and the blow-off phase. And if you actually understand these phases, you can make much smarter decisions about where to put your money. Let me explain. The stealth phase is when an asset or an idea is still completely under the radar. Only a handful of people know about it. It's not in the news, your friends are not talking about it, it just exists quietly, and the people who get in during this phase are the ones who make the most money over time. Then you have the awareness phase. More people start catching on to read some media coverage, but it's still not mainstream. Smart investors and early adopters start piling in. Then you have the mania phase. This is when everything goes crazy. Everyone is talking about it. Your cousin who has never invested a day in his life is telling you to buy it. It's on the front page of every news outlet. Prices are going up so fast that people start thinking they are geniuses. And then finally, you have the blow-off phase. This is when the bubble pops, prices crash. People who bought at the top lose everything, and the cycle starts all over again. Now, the reason I am telling you this is because most people do the exact opposite of what they should do. Most people buy during the mania phase because that's when the excitement is highest, that's when FOMO kicks in. That's when they see their friends making money and they feel like they are missing out. But the smart money gets in during stealth and awareness, and the really smart money gets out during mania. So how do you actually find opportunities in the stealth phase? You have to go where nobody else is looking. You have to ignore the headlines. You have to talk to people who are smarter than you. You have to make connections with people who are in different industries. You have to ask questions. What are the smartest people in your life excited about? What is still under the radar? What is still boring and unloved? Because by the time you see it on the front page of the Wall Street Journal or CNN, it's already too late. You are already in the mania phase. You are already buying at the top. And I see this happen over and over again. Bitcoin, real estate, NFTs, meme stocks. The pattern is always the same. The early people make money, the late people lose money. And if you want to build real wealth, you have to train yourself to be early. You have to train yourself to be uncomfortable. You have to buy when nobody else wants to buy and sell when everybody else is buying. It's counterintuitive, it's hard, but it's the only way. All right, the fourth and final concept is something I think about literally every single day, and that is opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is basically the value of the next best thing you could be doing with your time or your money, and most people never factor this into their decisions. Let me give you a simple example. Let's say you are trying to decide whether to take the bus or take an Uber to get somewhere. The bus costs $3, but it takes an hour. The Uber costs $20, but it takes 15 minutes. Most people just look at the dollar amount and think, oh, the bus is cheaper, I will save $17. But if your time is worth something, if you value your time at even just 30 or 40 bucks an hour, then taking the Uber is actually the smarter financial decision because you are getting 45 minutes of your life back. And you can use that time to work or learn or rest or do literally anything else that adds value to your life. The same logic applies to bigger decisions. For example, I have thought about investing in rental properties before. I know a lot of people make good money in real estate, but when I sat down and calculated the opportunity cost, I realized it was not worth it for me right now. Finding a good property takes hours of research. Touring properties takes more hours. Building relationships with contractors and property managers takes even more time. And after all that work, I might get a 10 or 12% return. Or I could take that same amount of money, put it into a diversified portfolio of index funds and stocks and bonds and spend maybe a couple hours a year managing it. The return might be a bit lower, but the time saved is massive. And for me at this stage of my lifetime is more valuable than a slightly higher return, so I chose the option that gave me more time. And look, I am not saying real estate is bad. If you have a partner who can handle the operational side, or if you genuinely enjoy the process, then go for it. But you have to be honest with yourself about what your time is worth. You have to calculate the opportunity cost of every decision you make. Because time is the only resource you can never get back. You can lose all your money and make it back. You can fail in a business and start another one, but you cannot get back a single minute of your life. So treat your time like the precious resource that it is. And I want to tie all of this together. The reason I made this video is because I see so many people my age struggling with money and feeling hopeless about their future. And I get it. I have been there. I was the guy with maxed out credit cards and no savings account and no plan. But I turned it around, not because I am special, not because I have a finance degree or a rich dad, but because I started thinking about money differently. I stopped looking for shortcuts. I stopped chasing hype. I started understanding that wealth is built slowly through inputs and outputs, through leverage and scale, through timing and through opportunity cost. And if a normal guy like me can figure it out, then you can too. So take these 4 concepts and apply them to your life. Ask yourself every single day, how can I accumulate more units of value? How can I use leverage to multiply my time? Am I investing in the stealth phase or am I buying into mania? And what is the opportunity cost of every choice I am making? That is the framework. That is how you build wealth as a normal person. No magic tricks, no secret formulas, just hard thinking and consistent action. All right, that is it for this one. I hope this video helped you think about money in a different way. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all the support. I will see you in the next one. Peace.